Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. Ryan, Mr. Smith Kitchen. So today I thought we would make some cookies, some peanut butter molasses cookies. Now, before you even go, what? These have become my new addiction. I have probably made close to, I don't know, 5 batches of these cookies, and there's almost 3 dozen per batch. I've only been able to get like 34 cookies out of a batch. But holy moly. Now, these would also make a good holiday cookie because they've got ginger in them and nutmeg and cinnamon, basically all the things that signify the holidays, or pumpkin spice. But holy cow, what a cookie for any time of the year. I've been baking these now pretty solid for, I don't know, the last 3.5 weeks. All while working on another cookie, which you may get to see next week. I've been on a cookie kick. Molasses oatmeal white chocolate chip cookie that is awesome also in its own right for an oatmeal cookie. But this peanut butter molasses cookie is out of this world, and I have to share it with you. So that being said, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Glad you're here. If you're returning, thank you. Thank you if you're new. I hope you get something out of this video and check out some of my others. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below, little square box, well, rectangular box. Right next to it's a notification bell. That'll let you know when my videos come out. They come out at least 2 days a week. Lately, I started doing bonus videos on canning and processing vegetables from the garden. And that's fun, awesome, and something I think everybody should be able to do to make you a little more self-efficient, especially with the cost of things now with the inflation on the rise and all that good stuff. Thumbs up, thumbs down, please. It tells me 2 things. Really, it tells me if I'm doing okay, if I'm not doing okay, if you liked the video, didn't like the video, or you're trolling me, whichever, which is kind of rude. Comments, definitely love comments. I try to respond to all of them in a somewhat timely fashion. Sometimes it takes me a couple days, and I'll ask, be nice. Think before you comment, think before you type, so to speak. And yeah. So why don't we get started on these cookies? They're not a hard cookie. They don't take just a ton of ingredients. They're, dare I say, a good cookie for a first cookie to make. So, yeah, let's get down to the counter and we'll start making some cookies. Hold on for me 1 second. Down here on the counter. So, let's talk about some things you'll need. You could almost do this with just a whisk and a bowl, or a couple bowls, but I would almost use a hand mixer, or my friend Rob pointed out, his immersion blender has a whisk attachment to it. You can use that also, which is awesome. I never thought about that. And my immersion blender even has a whisk attachment. I just never thought about using it. So, I mean, you've got a couple options, 2-3 options that you can run with this with. I'm going to use my stand mixer because I can. I have one. They're expensive. I want to get the most out of it that I can. But if you don't have one, that's cool. There's almost anything you can't. There's almost anything you can't make with out a stand mixer. As long as you have a hand mixer, a whisk, or an immersion blender with a whisk attachment, you're in like Flynn. There's so many ways to skin this cat, so to speak. Another thing, you'll need a bowl, at least a bowl, at least 1, 2 if you're not using a stand mixer, and a scale. Scales are so important. They keep you accurate, they keep you consistent, and they're not horribly expensive. About 20 bucks, and you got one in your kitchen that you'll use religiously. I guarantee it. I know I do mine for baking. So the next thing you'll need, probably the most important thing, is a recipe. I've got this one written down in the notebook as always. If you're new to my channel, if it's a recipe we don't like and it can't be salvaged, changed, or altered, I just tear it out and throw it away. If it's something that can be altered or changed to make better, improve, and this was one of them, believe it or not, I will work with it and keep it, and then I just give you an update on it, on what I did to make it better. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is work on our dry ingredients. So in our bowl, and here's one of the things I had to change, is 1 3/4 cups of flour. The original recipe that I got this off of only called for 1 1/3 cups, and it wasn't nearly enough flour. The cookies wouldn't hold together. So after making a few mistakes along the way, I figured out it's about 1 3/4 cups. Keeps the dough soft enough that you get what you want to achieve, but doesn't fall apart on you. The original recipe that I got, I don't remember where I got it from now. It was just too liquidy and you couldn't form dough balls. So we've got 1 1/3 cups of flour, which is 210 grams. To this, we're going to add a few things. We're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, which is baking powder, which is 2 grams. 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, which is 3 grams. We're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt right there in the middle, which is 1 gram, and I'm using kosher salt. And then the other the other next two don't really weigh on a scale unless you have a fine-tuned scale that has 3 digits passed to the right of the decimal point. But you've got a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, which is 0.005 of a gram. A 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, which is also 0.005 of a gram. They're just very light. And then you've got 1 teaspoon or 1 gram of cinnamon. All right, and we're going to add all of those to our flour mix, just like such. And then we will give it a quick whisk. Oh, let me grab the non-scratch my ceramic bowl or metal bowl whisk. And we're just going to whisk this all together. Yeah, that way we know it's all nice and even. I mean, if it's not nice and even, that's okay too, because we're going to put it in the mixer and it's all going to mix together anyhow. But we're going to give it a good whisk. Now we can just set this aside for the moment. Alright, so in our second bowl, or in this case in the stand mixer, we are going to start off with a 1/4 cup, a 1/2 stick of butter, which is 55 grams. And and you wanted it at room temperature, right? And in baking, everything should be room temperature unless otherwise noted. We're going to put that in there, and that one is very much room temperature. We're going to add a 1/4 cup, 70 grams of peanut butter. Get a second spatula out here. Make sure we get all that gooey goodness out of there. And then we're going to add a 1/2 cup, 100 grams of sugar. Pop that in there. And we're going to mix this until it's good and creamed up. All right, so it's got a nice, light, almost fluffy texture to it. Okay, so we got the 3 ingredients mixed together and creamed up nicely. So now we'll take our spatula and we're just going to scrape down our sides of the bowl. I'll show you what it looks like here in a second. Yeah, well, I mean, I can show you right there. So we just want, a nice light color, good and creamy. No chunks of butter, no chunks of peanut butter, none of that. And then we will move on to the next 3 wet ingredients. Like I said, this is a fast-moving cookie. It does not take long to put together at all. It's really very easy. All right, so the next things we need to put in here are 1 large egg, room temperature also. That's important. We'll get that put in there. I'll throw that away. We need a 1/4 cup, that egg is 50 grams. 1/4 cup or 75 grams of honey. Get that in there. And you notice I'm not mixing in between. Don't have to. I mean, you can, if that's what you feel comfortable with. But I have found with this recipe, it's really just to kind of dump it in and mix it up recipe. 1/4 cup, 70 grams of molasses. Which, did you know molasses doesn't have an expiration date? It's literally good forever. Which is kind of awesome. Get that in there. And the last thing we're going to add is 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of vanilla. Yeah, and it's vanilla extract, a pure vanilla extract. You can use imitation vanilla, it is cheaper, but it just does not give you the same flavor that real vanilla does. Alright, and we're going to just mix this till it's all well incorporated. Alright, we got her good and incorporated. Looking just like a super creamy, soft peanut butter. It's kind of really awesome. Off the side, take our spatula, scrape our sides down. Just like such. Now, one thing I didn't tell you to do that, and you can do it right when you first start because these cookies don't take long to put together. I just don't do it until, well, right about now, because my kitchen's small and it gets hot quickly, is turn the oven on. So as soon as I get this scraped off, I'm going to go ahead and turn my oven on, and you can do the same. Because we got a few steps. We're going to turn our oven on 375 degrees and get that warming up. Make sure there's nothing in there real quick. We are good. So the last thing we need to do, as far as getting our dough together, our batter together, is add our dry ingredients in. I'm just going to put this all in at once. You know, nothing fancy. Nothing. I mean, this really is just an easy recipe. And we're going to mix this on low to start, and then we'll kick it up a notch as the flour gets, as the dry goods get mixed in with the wet. And then that way, and we want to just get this completely incorporated. You don't want to see any flour spots or anything like that. It'll take a minute or two. Alright, we got that mixed up. Looking good. So we'll give everything a good scrape. Get everything off the paddle attachment. Alright, got everything off the paddle attachment. I'll just take our bowl off of here and give this a good, once over. Scrape the sides down. Check to make sure everything's nice and incorporated. And if you're looking to see what your dough should look like, it should roughly be just a little thicker than peanut butter. See how it holds? You know, it doesn't want to fall off of there, but it's still nice and creamy. That way it can form into a ball. So we got that in good shape there. Scrape the spatula off, wipe that down in there. All right, now to get these on the tray. Let me bring it down here just a little bit so you can see the tray. What we're going to use, I'm going to use a cookie scoop. Okay, if you don't have a cookie scoop, you should get one because they're not very expensive and they're like maybe $4 or $5, and they come in very handy when making cookies, especially around Christmas time when you're making a lot of cookies. If you don't have one, a tablespoon or about 25 to 30 grams is what you're looking for. And all I'm going to do is get one good level scoop, just like such. I'm going to put it in this bowl here. This bowl has about a half a cup of sugar in it. And I'm going to roll the little dough ball, and see, it still holds the ball shape, but it's soft. Yeah, and I'm going to place them on my cookie sheet about 2 inches apart from each other. Here, I'll do it down on this end so you can see what I'm doing. So, and they don't get huge, so you don't have to worry about expanding. I have a full cookie sheet here, or a baking sheet, and it'll hold 15 cookies. And like I said, this recipe, depending on how big you make your cookies, will hold about, we'll make up to 36 cookies. So let me get the rest of these rolled out, and we'll move on to the next step before we put them in the oven. Okay, Got all my cookies on the sheet. We are good to go there. Now, next thing we need to do, excuse me, is basically do like you would do a peanut butter cookie. And we're going to take a fork and we're going to put lines in it one direction. Kind of press them out. You know, interesting fact, the reason why peanut butter cookies have that shape is because somebody decided that when they wanted to flatten their cookie down, they were going to use a fork, and the process just stuck. It was like they didn't have anything else to flatten their cookie down with, so they just used a fork, and lo and behold, everybody started making their peanut butter cookies that way. So we got our cookies are now crisscrossed, just like such. Perfect flatness. Got them all balled out. We rolled them in all the sugar. So what do we do now? Well, the next step is to just bake them. So 8 to 10 minutes in the oven at 375 degrees. Sorry, I feel like we are crooked. And now in my oven particularly, it takes 9 minutes. But 8 to 10 minutes, because your oven may be different. Start checking them. What you're looking for is a little crispness around the edges, and the center should still be soft. You know, and they'll have a nice golden color to them, kind of like they already do, but that color will be accented. So 8 to 10 minutes. Start checking them. You know, I find that in my oven 9 minutes works, like I said. But when I first made them, I did 3 separate trays, and I cooked a batch at 8 minutes, a batch at 9 minutes, and a batch at 10 minutes to see which one worked. And they all pretty much worked, but I think the best cookie came out for me at 9 minutes. So, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get all these in the oven. Don't forget to rotate your tray halfway through baking. So in my case, 4.5 minutes. I'm going to take my cookie sheet, pull it out, and turn it around this way. That way you get a good even bake, you know, because all ovens have hot spots. So, get these in the oven. When I come back, we'll talk about what to do next and then try one. All right, I'll see you here in just one. I'll be back in just 1 second. All right, hold on. All right, so our timer just went off. Let's pop these bad boys out of the oven, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. All right, there we are right there. They look just amazing. And they taste fantastic, I'm here to tell you. All right, turn the oven off. Timer's off. We're good to go there. So the next thing we're going to do is practice a little patience. We're going to let these sit on this cookie sheet for 2, 3, 4 minutes and let them cool down a little bit, because right now they're so soft they'll just fall apart, right? All cookies are like that. That's why you leave them sit on the cookie sheet for a few minutes. After 2, 3 minutes is up, I'll take them off the cookie sheet and put them on that cooling rack that's right below it, and let them cool to room temperature, or at least close to room temperature. All right, I mean, because you need them warm, but they're going to taste fabulous either way it goes. I'm here to tell you. So, I'm going to let those sit, then I'll get them on the rack, let them cool down to room temperature, and then we'll try one. I'll see you back here in just 1 second. All right, so our cookies have cooled to a reasonable temperature. There is our finished product. You know, and I'm here to tell you, they look great, and I'm going to guarantee they taste amazing unless something went horribly wrong. Because like I said, we've probably made, I don't know, dozens of them, 3 batches. So that's at least 3 batches. So that's at least 9 dozen cookies-ish. And this makes 3 more, almost dozen. I ended up getting 32 out of this batch. So 4 shy of 3 dozen. But let's give them a try all the same. Well, so not only, I mean, it's still just slightly warm, which is beautiful. But the edge is just the perfect crispness. The center is chewy. And I don't know about you, I mean, sometimes a firm cookie is good, or a crunchy cookie when it's called for. But when it comes to homemade, in my opinion, I think they should be, you know, moist and chewy near the center and just a little crisp on the edges. And this cookie just qualifies all the way around. There's just enough peanut butter in it to give it a little hint of peanut butter. You can taste the molasses. and just hints of the ginger and nutmeg and the cinnamon. It is a well-balanced cookie and a solid recipe. Works every time. So, that being said, try these cookies. You won't be disappointed. They're easy to make. If you're not really good at making cookies, you know, it's not something you've had a lot of practice in, try these. It's an easy rock star recipe. You know, you'll be successful, I promise. If you do try this recipe, let me know. Just put a comment down below, or check us out on the Facebook group. Leave me a message there, or hit me up on Messenger. Either way, any of those ways, let me know. Let me know if you try them. Let me know if you like them. Let me know if you don't. I don't think you'll not like them. I am in love with this cookie. I am glad it came into my life. But let me know what you do. Or if you have a similar recipe, let me know. Post it on the Facebook group on Mr. Smith's Kitchen on Facebook. That way we can all try it if you're so inclined. So this weekend I'll be putting out another video. We're going to do continued tomatoes. We did tomato sauce last week. This week we're going to do salsa. And I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. The recipe we're going to do, me and Chris have been making for the last 10 years that I know of. It's one of her family recipes. It comes out of her mom's, my mother-in-law's cookbook. An absolutely amazing salsa recipe that's very versatile. It's fresh. You can serve it fresh, day old, let it sit and mingle, or you can process it and can it like we do. But I'm going to show you how we do it and how we get it all together, and and the processing and canning of it and all that good stuff. It's a good time. And I really encourage everybody to not only watch the video, but, try the recipe. So, that being said, I'll see you on this weekend. Next week, I don't know what we're going to cook yet. Baking-wise, kind of torn between a couple things. My friend Rob, who I mentioned earlier with the immersion blender, sent me a recipe for a cheesecake that involves two of my favorite things ever. And that's pecan pie and cheesecake. So we may try that. I'm leaning more towards that. But I'm also, like I said earlier, currently working on a molasses oatmeal white chocolate chip cookie that, matter of fact, as soon as I get done here, I'm probably going to make another batch. And if I can get it good, we may do that. But I'm leaning more towards the cheesecake. I love cheesecake. I love pecan pie. So, that being said, I'll see you Saturday. I love you. I love you very much. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else you love them and you love them very much. Make some of these cookies and take them to them. Man, you're going to have a friend for life and they're going to know you love them. I guarantee it. So, till Saturday for salsa, I love you. I'll talk to you later. All right?